So in this video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of Ladera Ranch. We're going to be real about the cons, and we're going to talk about things that you're maybe not going to like, because it's important that you know the true cons of any area so you don't move out here and then realize that you've moved to the wrong place. So let's get started. But Ladera Ranch is pretty nice, so there's a lot of pros in addition to the cons.
Yeah, so one of the pros is actually where we're at right now. We're in Founders Park, so this is pretty awesome. So this is a place where the community congregates. We gather here to partake in a lot of, community activities. There's actually like a concert series that happens here. Famously, there's actually this 80s concert, which totally like jives with the vibe of this area, this whole 80s theme, which we absolutely love Ladera Ranch for.
Yeah, so we have quite a few friends that live in Ladera Ranch, and one of the things that they always tell us is that what they really like about Ladera Ranch is it really feels like a community, like people look out for each other. They don't have to worry, if their kids are out of their sight, they go down the street or whatever, go play with other kids. They really feel like everyone looks out for one another. It's got like a Midwestern vibe, even though we're in the middle of Southern California. You don't really think of that, most places in Southern California, you're not going to be not watching your kids, right? You're going to be watching them like a hawk. That's just the culture here. But I feel like
the helicopter parent.
Yeah, the helicopter parent. But I feel like Ladera Ranch is different. It's definitely more of a community, at least from residents that we know and friends that we have that live here who tell us that.
Yeah, because actually, so like at Founders Park where we're at, basically, again, that during that 80s concert thing, which we actually happened to, we had friends in the area that invited us to this thing, so it was really fun. People got dressed the part, so they dressed it like in the 80s. You had 80s songs playing, and our kids were playing, and we couldn't quite see where they were. They were at the playground, and we're like, there's a little bit of anxiety because we're like, I can't actually see them. But then you're like, oh wait, I'm in Ladera Ranch. That's just kind of how things go. And we felt much better. And again, even kids did get lost, they had to find the lost parents, so they announced it on the concert stage. I got again, throwback to in the 80s when I was growing up. And again, this was just like such a, I felt like I was in time traveling back to when I was a kid, because it's just like the flow was just so different, in this area.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sean Azad.
And I'm Courtney Azad, and we are licensed real estate agents here in the state of California.
And if you're watching this channel, you might be thinking, wow, Sean, I love Orange County. I love the glitz, I love the glamour, I love the weather, and I can't wait to move out there now. But the problem is that I'm not local. I'm not in the area. I might be out of state. I may be out of the country. So I don't know what to do, and I totally get that. That's why you want to reach out to us so we can have that conversation to find out specifically what your needs are and find that perfect property for you. We can be your boots on the ground. We can even do virtual tours of the property and the neighborhood, so we can really find you that perfect home. So what you want to do is when you give us a call, shoot us a text or send us an email.
So now let's get into a con. Definitely Ladera Ranch is on the pricier side, like all of Orange County. I mean, Orange County is expensive, and if you're looking for gated, there are only certain pockets here that are gated.
Yes.
And do you want to talk about price? Because another popular community that's really close to here is Coto de Caza, and that is a totally gated community. And we're going to do a video about this, so subscribe to our channel. But we were talking about how maybe Coto has a little bit more value for what you're getting. I mean, it's obviously very subjective, but you want to talk about it?
I think it depends on what you're trying to get.
Yeah,
so
okay.
So for instance, if you're looking for gated, one of the main communities within Ladera Ranch is Covenant Hills. So this is a gated subset within Ladera Ranch that, again, the homes are pretty pricey. I mean, they're not they're on bigger lots, bigger homes, and it's gated, right? And it's gonna cost you, so it's more expensive. And surprisingly, if you're looking for a kind of a similar type home in Coto de Caza, which people think is super ritzy, which it is, you actually almost can get more in Coto de Caza depending on what you're looking for, because Coto is the entire community is gated, so you already have that out of the way. And these homes are typically on larger lots, they're larger homes, and so oddly enough, Coto might be actually a better value. Now, if you're getting your typical, let's say, Ladera Ranch property that's not in the gated parts, I would say it's cheaper for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I guess it just depends on what you're looking for. But if you're looking for gated, you might want to actually really think about Coto as well.
Another pro of Ladera is that, typically speaking, when you're looking at the rankings, so like niche.com or greatschools.org, the schools here, the schools that you're zoned for, have good rankings. So, that's just a big positive. A lot of people that we know that live here, they send their kids ride their bikes to school, to the local schools that are here, like Ladera Elementary, Ladera Middle, and it's zoned for San Juan Hills High School, which niche.com gives an A+. But then you also are part of the Capistrano Unified School District, which is really cool school district because it has special programs, special charter schools that you can lottery into, so you have a lot of options. There are language immersion programs, quite a few Spanish immersion, there's a Mandarin immersion, so there's a lot of options in Capistrano. We know people that live in Ladera Ranch that don't send their kids to Ladera Ranch School because they want like a special program somewhere else. So yeah. That's just something.
And Capistrano Unified School District is one of the more highly rated school districts within Orange County. It's the largest school district within Orange County, and it encompasses several cities. So not just Ladera Ranch, which is technically not a city, it's a census district, but it's actually, it covers a lot of cities. So that's why you've got to have so much more variety in the kinds of, which avenue of education you want to specialize in.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is that in terms of the location of Ladera Ranch, you are pretty far south and pretty far east, but it's not as bad as you'd think, which is why some of these parents choose schools that are outside of the immediate vicinity of Ladera Ranch, because it's really not that hard to get around. Like Sean and I, we used to be like, I don't know what to call it, like Ladera haters. We'd be like, why would you go to Ladera? It's so far away. But then we started going here more because, other kids that were living in Ladera, and then we're like, oh, I guess we were totally wrong about Ladera.
Yeah,
like the location is actually, it's not as far off the freeway as you'd think.
It's about 10 minutes off the freeway. So it's, again, a lot of other cities, it's going to be comparable. So you're like, okay, if you're only 10 minutes off the freeway, really, how far away are you?
Yeah, for sure. And then I will say, though, that if you are someone that maybe has a job in Los Angeles or you've got to go there quite a bit.
So are you doing a con right now?
Well, so the location of Ladera is kind of a pro and a con. So
it's mostly, I would say, okay, if we're going to say like an absolute stance, it's a con, right? Because it's not like Irvine, that's like the centrally located city in Orange County that happens to be a job hub, that happens to be a retail center. So it has all these things going for it. Yeah. Ladera, it's a con, but not as much of a con as we initially thought. I'll just put it that way. So it is a con because you're still out of the way a bit. And there's no real huge job hubs right here. The Irvine Special is about 20 minutes, give or take, away. So it's just one of those things you just want to be aware of, that if you're commuting to LA, again, if this is consistent, like you're doing like a daily commute kind of thing.
Or honestly, even a couple times a week.
Yeah.
I personally, everyone's different.
Everyone has a different threshold.
I would not want to drive to LA from here like 2 or 3 times a week. That's me personally.
Yeah.
I hate driving. Just ask my kids. They're like, Mommy says a lot of bad words
oh gosh.
in the car. Yeah, so I'm just someone that really just hates being in the car. So yeah, it is pretty far south.
That's true.
So another great thing about Ladera Ranch is all of the amenities. And we have to be clear because, I don't know, some people made the assumption that amenities in communities are for the public. Generally speaking, they're for residents only.
And their guests.
And their guests.
Yeah, so we're just being specific.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we say amenities, when we say public, we don't actually mean like anyone can go in. You actually have to have obviously you have to be a resident or a guest of said resident. So just be aware that that's what we mean. But yeah, as far as amenities go, Ladera Ranch has a ton of amenities. I mean, so many amenities. I mean, you have tons of parks, you have tennis courts, you have pools, you have splash pads. Yeah, there's just so much here for the residents here. It's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, it's almost like its own little Disneyland.
It totally is.
Here when there's so much to do. So that is a great thing about Ladera Ranch. But then on the flip side of that is that you obviously are in an HOA.
Yes.
And it's interesting how some people don't care. Like we are totally fine with HOAs.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. I feel like the good outweighs the cons. Some people really hate HOAs. They will do anything to not be in an HOA. So this is an HOA.
And I understand that because obviously, my family, we had a house in an HOA, and they were kind of being super restrictive. So it was very annoying because you're like, this is my house. This is not attached to any other home. Why are you telling me that I only can choose from this color palette?
Yeah.
It's irritating. However, on the flip side of that, you're going, okay, well, at least it does keep things somewhat consistent.
Yeah.
It keeps the yards somewhat well groomed and that kind of thing.
The landscaping is done for you.
Yes.
It looks nice.
Again, I'm not going to say it's bad or good. It's just mostly what your personal preference is, but just be aware that it does have HOAs. South County is a land of HOAs, so just be aware of that. So yeah, so as far as another con is the fact that, so when you buy into, if you're looking to buy a property in Ladera Ranch, there is is a fee, like an association transfer fee, basically, that new residents pay for. So it's a percentage of the sale, not it's a small percentage, but it is a cost nonetheless. So just be aware of it. And if you want more specifics about that, then obviously reach out to us so we can have that conversation to let you know, obviously, what all your costs are going to be.
So another con of Ladera Ranch is that, I mean, obviously, so Orange County and all of Southern California has the best weather in the world. Everyone knows that. But, I mean, we are splitting hairs here. You get closer to the coast and the weather is just that much better. You will have to have your air conditioning cranking here in the summer. Some of the homes, like the units, might be a little bit on the older side, which means they're not as efficient, which means, you know, electricity in California is expensive. So this is just something that you're going to be having to deal with.
So realistically, expect that you're going to have a reasonably high electric bills. Again, maybe you want to offset that with some solar, whatever you want to do, but just realize, just brace yourself that your air conditioner is most likely going to be cranking.
Yeah, for sure. And then you do need to know that because we are closer to the Cleveland National Forest, it is elevated fire danger here. If you are concerned about that, you can email us or just comment down below. We can get you the Orange County Fire Authority's fire map to let you know what regions are elevated danger. So another thing about Ladera Ranch, and this could be a pro or con, it really just is your own opinion, it's purely residential. I mean, there are some very small businesses, very small commercial here, but if you're getting to the main commercial, you're probably gonna have to go to the shops at Mission Viejo. But the major is in Irvine, the Irvine
That's
spectrum.
the closest, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want to just talk about that?
Yeah. So huge pro here is that it's pretty much purely residential. It's great, right? People love the fact that these are where homes are and this is kind of thing. Con is that it's kind of purely residential. So you kind of have the thing where you're again, if you're looking for shopping, dining, and to work, most likely you're going to have to venture outside of Ladera Ranch. Now, fortunately, there's stuff just outside basically the boundaries of Ladera Ranch. And again, like you were mentioning, Mission Viejo and Irvine, respectively, they have their own specific hubs and stuff like that. So just realize that you're going to be probably driving a little bit, 10 minutes or so to Mission Viejo and about 20 minutes to let's say Irvine.
And another great thing that I really love about Ladera Ranch is I think they've done a great job with the architecture so obviously it's master planned, but the homes look very different. It's not like how in some places in Irvine, there's a big complaint, everything looks the same, different shade of beige. They've done a really good job with the architecture here.
Yeah, they mix it up. So they have homes, even though again, let's be real, these are all tract homes, that's what they are, but at least they dress it up. So you have some stone-faced buildings, you have some brick-faced buildings, you have wood siding, you have stucco, you have in different kinds of just different feels, and it doesn't feel like it's a different shade of beige. They have different colors, schemes, and all that stuff. So it does break up the monotony a lot because there's, again, other parts of South Orange County that were developed, let's say, in the 90s or earlier. It's very obvious that they're tract homes and they were again, almost the same floor plan, that kind of thing. Here, at least they mix it up a bit.
Yeah, but I will say one thing about these homes is that they tend to have pretty small lots.
Yes, for sure. Again, the newer the development in general, the smaller the lots.
Yeah.
And so you tend to go more vertical. That just is what it is. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. Not having said that, there are properties that have larger lots. Like we mentioned Covenant Hills before, where you can have those bigger homes. It's just that as a general whole, these properties are pretty small lot sizes. And remember, we are licensed realtors here in the state of California, so as much as we love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.